Did you run a stop sign?
I mean, it's up to you to see. I played the dash cam footage in the video. So, from my point of view, it looks like we stopped for at least like 2 seconds. We made sure to follow every law.
How's it going?
How's it going? I'm Officer Hawkins, American Fork Police Department. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Well, what's your name? Are you Ben?
Hundreds or maybe thousands of you have reached out to me about covering the Reckless Ben Lego videos. Basically, he's a YouTuber who made a video about a stolen Lego collection that ended with a bunch of crazy police interactions in this small town in Utah where the American Fork Police Department did some pretty wild things.
Search warrant. Stand up. Step outside, everybody. No. Don't move.
This is the story of how I got swatted, all because of Legos. The whole thing started with me investigating a Lego company called Bricks and Minifigs. The company sent two guys to steal the world's largest Star Wars Lego collection worth around $200,000. And for some reason, the police are helping them get away with it. The family reached out to me saying that I'm their last hope to get them their life savings back.
I was gonna scare him a little bit and let him go is all I really was gonna do.
We have charges, or are we just tired of them being annoying?
Ben, how's Utah?
It's good.
Like it?
Instead of helping to get justice for the rightful owners of this stolen Lego collection, this police department instead helped protect the company accused of stealing the collection. And by protect, I'm talking about illegal traffic stops, illegal searches, illegal seizures, false arrests, malicious prosecutions, and more.
We play differently here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Don't move like that. You understand me? Don't move like that.
All against Ben and his friends, apparently while shielding the Lego company from accountability or even criticism. A lot of you were also telling Ben that he needed to reach out to me, so he did. I immediately was intrigued and I wanted to help him. But before I could do that, I had to understand the facts, everything that happened. I needed to talk to Ben himself. I needed to interview him and get it straight from him and not just his YouTube videos.
The way you know we have First Amendment freedom of speech is I can say something you don't like, and I'm allowed to do that. So the police officer is arguing exactly against that statement.
Give me the background on how you first found out about this Lego situation and how you got interested in it.
At the end of my last video, I was looking for other videos to do, so I just put a little call to action, like 10 seconds long. Hey, if you have a problem the police can't solve, email me at this email. And then I just like set up a little email, just got literally probably 10,000 emails the next like 2 days. And I was actually in line for Burning Man. It was, I think, a 22-hour line because it started raining at Burning Man. So me and like my three friends just all like went through and were like just starring everyone that could like maybe be a cool video idea. And we were looking for a video that was more family friendly because a lot of my videos get taken down or shadow banned and like age restricted because we're talking about like we're trying to take down people that like torture people or that like abuse people, you know, like really kind of not YouTube friendly stuff. So then we see this insane story and it's about Legos and we're like, oh, that's family friendly. This is crazy. It seemed like there was such an easy solution. Just give the Legos back. And it's like very easy to understand. This company stole the little guy's Legos, but they're coming up with legal loopholes in order to like keep it, I guess. And in a lot of my videos, I've always come up with like legal loopholes to do good things. And it seems like this company was using legal loopholes to do bad things. So I was like, this is kind of like the perfect like battle, you know, like legal loopholes for good versus legal loopholes for bad. That'll make an interesting video. And it's about something family friendly, Lego, something everyone can understand. Like, seems like the perfect video, you know? So I just got on a call with them. And that was like the first 5 minutes of the video was that Zoom call. Like that was my first time talking to them. And
all those vintage Star Wars sets you have in there are ours. I have a contract, I have photo evidence, video evidence, like that is our collection.
Just told me the story and I was like, this is insane. Like, let's do it. And so I just drove up like the next week and I mean, you saw the rest in the video, I guess.
What was the underlying story about how this Lego collection was stolen?
Basically, in the email, he says, my dad invested his life savings and a good portion of his life into collecting what's now known as the world's biggest Star Wars Lego collection. and he's in terrible health. So I kind of took over. I'm the son. I took over his collection. I was responsible for selling it. So we went to Bricks and Minifigs because they're the most reputable Lego reseller in the entire world. So out of all the places that could resell the Legos, Bricks and Minifigs has the best credibility. So he's like, let's take it there. Like, let's do it. And he said at first it actually went pretty well. They were doing a sale, like a split. So every time a Lego set gets sold, he gets a percentage, or the store gets a percentage, but then he gets a bigger percentage. And in the contract, you can see that the Legos are still his. So they're not the store's Legos, they're his Legos. But for a thank you for like selling them for him, he gives the store a percentage for doing the sale. So he's like, then all of a sudden these corporate people come over, and he didn't really know why they took over the store. We know now, which is they just lied, I guess, and said that she wasn't allowed to do consignments, which actually is a couple of days ago, the franchise document leaked that said they are allowed to do consignments. So what it really seems like is corporate saw that the world's largest Star Wars Lego set was in the store, and they wanted to make up some reason to take over the store so they could have access to this Star Wars Lego set. And obviously that's me like speculating, but I haven't heard of a better reason of why corporate could have taken over the store, because they were saying it's because she's breaking the rules doing these consignments and stuff, but it says in the contract consignments are allowed, so it seems like they're just making something up in order to take over the store. They now claim ownership. They claim that the Star Wars Lego sets are their inventory now, and so Brian goes back and is like, hey, can I have these sets? And that's when the guy crosses his arms and he's like, we're going to drag this out. Like, if you want to sue us, that's the only way you're going to get these sets back. But if you do sue us, we're going to drag it out where it's worth way more money than what your collection's worth. Like, you might as well just forget about these and just let us keep it. It'll be much easier for you if you do that.
We're going to drag this thing out so long, and you're going to end up spending so much more money than your collection is ever worth or what you ever would have gotten out of it, that it ain't worth it, man.
Brian was like, what the heck do I do now? And he couldn't go on the news because his dad watches the news. And so he's like, I'm going to go to YouTubers. So I think he went to another YouTube channel and they started it, but then they got hit with lawsuits.
They were threatening legal action against us. Bricks and Minifigs, which is a pretty big company who probably has way more resources than we can, really put up a fight against.
I get sued every single series I do. There was one series where I infiltrated a cult and they were like, well, I guess God is going to punish him. We don't have to sue him. They don't believe in the government and stuff. So that was the only time I haven't been sued. But I guess Brian saw that I get through all these lawsuits magically somehow. So he was like, I think Ben's the one for the job. And I was like, I'm the one for the job. And then ended up taking it on.
What did you end up doing that brought you into some interaction with the police?
I walked in and I said, hey, I think my friend said that he has some Legos in your store, but he just is having trouble picking them up. He was wondering if I could pick them up for him. And she's like, whose sets are these? I'm like, I think Brian Mansell. And I'm like, I think it's like a Lego Star Wars collection. And she's like, you can leave, get out of here. And she's like, and then she calls the cops. She's like, I think she calls the owner first. And she's like, watch the cameras. Like, I'm being harassed. She's like, you're harassing me right now. And I'm like,
How about yourself?
it's pretty good. So basically my friend said that you guys have some of his Legos, I think, and he told me to come here and see if I could pick them up.
Who's your friend?
I think they're Brian's Legos. It's like a big Star Wars collection set, I think.
You could go ahead and leave now.
Really?
So you could go ahead and leave now, or I will call the police for harassment.
I'm here for a legal business reason. This isn't harassment. We're doing business right now. You have $200,000 of our inventory. This is not harassment, But obviously, it turns out she was just using that as an excuse not to talk to us. And then I call corporate and the owner, and then the owner's like, because I'm like, hey, I have a contract here, because I knew that Brian kind of gave me some foreshadowing. He's like, this is what they're going to say. They're going to claim you're harassing them. You're going to claim this. So if you say you're here for a business reason, have the contract, have all this set. So I had all the paperwork and evidence ready for me that first day when I went in there. And I was trying to get her to look at it. And she's like, I can't look at it. I can't look at it. I'm like, here, just look at this. She's like, I can't see it. I can't, basically one of those things. And finally she calls the police on me, and then the police come. And I don't know why the police were acting like this. I've had a lot of interactions with the police, and like 95% of the time it goes like super well. I was caught so off guard because I'm used to like kind of being buddies with the police. I'm like, oh, like I'm under the assumption of like, oh, the police are here to like protect us, keep us safe and stuff. But they come here and they're like, hey, they don't want you in the store. You got to leave. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm here for a business reason. Like I came here because they have a bunch of sets that we just want. It's like they're keeping our inventory and we just want it back. And they're like, yeah, well, you just got to leave. I think he even said something like, we already talked about this. And I'm like, we didn't talk about this. Like you said I'm not allowed here. That's all like, you talked to me. I didn't talk to you, and I don't know if he was just having a bad day or if they think that like, oh, like we have to support small business. Maybe I've tried thinking about it so many times and I have no clue why the police were protecting this company because it makes no sense to me. I've tried putting like my brain in the police officer's brain and I feel like there's no scenario where I would act the way that police officer acted.
Where is this taking place? And what is the police department?
It's in Kaiser, Oregon, the Kaiser Police Department. And it's about 15, 20 minutes north of Salem, Oregon, which is the capital of Oregon. So just some super small town where probably everyone knows each other in Oregon. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, the police comes to this business that's a business of their town that they're trying to protect. And some out-of-state well, they don't know I'm a YouTuber, but they know I'm from California. So they don't really find out I'm a YouTuber until part 2. But so I come up and they're like, okay, so some out-of-state person is coming up, which they're getting a harassment phone call to harass this company. And it sounds crazy. Like, oh, basically their entire store is my inventory is what I'm claiming. Like all of the sets in their store are mine pretty much is what I'm claiming. It just sounds crazy. So they probably just think I'm lying. I tried to like say the facts, like, here's the facts, here's the evidence to support the facts that I'm saying. But it's even with that, it just sounds so crazy. I think the police just can't believe it, At least if I was a police officer, I'd be like, okay, let's look at the evidence now, but the police would never do that.
How is it different than stolen items ending up in a pawn shop? I mean, the cops don't say, well, there's nothing we can do about that. No, they go and they get the stolen items from the pawn shop. Did anyone make the claim to the cops that, look, these belong to somebody else, not this store?
No, I said that. And he's like, okay. That's his response. Okay, time to leave.
So they tell you to leave and you leave, but you still have additional interactions with them, right?
What Brian was saying, when he originally first contacted the police, they did do a police investigation on it. I was actually able to get the police report, and there's a lot of false information on the police report. So basically, they were lying to the police, and the police were taking the store's word over Brian's word. Basically, what they end up saying is it's a civil matter. So it's kind of what the whole point, right? It's like, hey, you can sue me, but it's going to cost way more than what this collection's worth. It's not worth it. Just give up now. That's their whole strategy. And there's been multiple phone leaks of that. Actually, as of like yesterday, I think the owner leaked corporate saying that to them. So it's on video of that is their strategy now. I was just looking, I'm like, okay, so if we can't sue them, how do we get it back to criminal? So I'm just going through a list of all of the criminal laws that can be like, because when I first started this, I had no clue what civil and criminal meant. I knew that they were legal terms, but if you told me like, what's a civil law? I'd be like, I don't know. Like, I'm not like really that into the law, I guess. So I started looking it up and I'm like, okay, so I saw that stealing from a lottery in Oregon is actually a criminal law. So I was like, why don't we just lottery one of these items off? And then if Bricks and Minifigs steals the prize by keeping it in their store, not giving it to the owner, that's technically stealing the prize. That's stealing from a lottery, which is now criminal. So I'm like, okay, that's something the police have to investigate. So in the back of my mind, I kind of knew they were going to come up with something, but I tried to do everything I could to make the police do it. So I got a copy of the Oregon law book. It was really hard to get that, but I was able to get it. And I highlighted all of the sections where it says stealing from a lottery is a criminal offense that the police have to get involved in. So I highlighted that in the Oregon law book. So when the police came, I opened up the law book. I said, hey, look at this. And the police officer actually is like, hey, he's reading all the highlighted parts. He's like, we do have to do something about this. This is criminal. And then that's when the police officer whispers in the other police officer's ear. And because he was helping us for probably 15 minutes. And he seemed like he was on our side. He was taking notes like, okay, we're going to do an investigation on this. We're going to take this company down, And then the second the police officer whispers in the other police officer's ear, they all change. Like, nope, we can't talk to you guys anymore. You guys are trespassed. oh, you have evidence that you guys did a lottery? We can't look at that evidence. We can't do anything. Get out or you're getting in handcuffs is what they would say.
And you're trespassing the property for life, okay? You come back, you're gonna go in handcuffs and go to jail.
Well, they trespass you? But we're just trying to claim our prize.
I'm gonna deal with you today.
At some point, you did file some sort of civil lawsuit, right? And you were trying to serve it.
Regular court, I think they were estimating it's going to take like around 4 years. And so with the dad's health slowly declining, like one of his goals was to see his grandchildren be paid out for their college funds before he dies, I guess. So if you have a 4-year lawsuit, that kind of doesn't like, it's a little scary there, I guess. And then also it's going to cost him like $200,000-$300,000. So why would you pay $300,000 for a lawsuit that you're only going to get not even $200,000 back? You know, it makes absolutely no sense, because even if you win, you still lose. I was looking up just everything I could look up, you know, like I was just going through every single like possibility. And I look up small claims court and I'm like, it costs $100 per law. It's $104 exactly per lawsuit. And it takes, I think, like 3 months or something like less than 3 months. So we're like, why don't we just do that 10 times, you know, and get $100,000 for them? Because you can only sue for $10,000 in Oregon. So we're like, let's just do it 10 times. So I just got 10 friends who said they were down to sue. And I ordered so many credit cards. I still have credit cards coming in the mail. I just had one come 2 days ago because I just ordered like 30 credit cards, you know, and I actually went to the bank. I pulled out $10,000 for each one, and then we paid them the money. And so now it was a legal transaction. I didn't want Bricks and Minifigs to say, oh, this wasn't a legal transaction. So we had a public notary there. So if Bricks and Minifigs ever says, was this a legal transaction, they can contact our public notary, who's the official person who basically approves purchases. You can say, hey, I saw the money go to Brian. I saw Brian give him the ownership of these sets. So that was legal. Not only are we claiming it's official, but an official person claims it's official. It's official. We have a public notary approving it. Notary public. We have a notary public approving it. Now that we own the sets, if I get my sets stolen, that's a completely separate crime than if my friend gets his sets stolen. You know, like if one robber robs 10 houses, like 10 houses in a neighborhood, all 10 people can sue for the same crime of robbery because it happened to 10 different people. You know, it's 10 separate crimes. Even though it's the same crime, it's still 10 separate crimes were committed against 10 separate people. So they can all individually sue that robber, you know? So it's the same thing here. We all individually, separately got robbed, and we can all sue for the same crime, but it's still 10 separate crimes. It just all happens to be the same crime, you know?
How do we get from Oregon to Utah?
So they closed down the store in Oregon because this whole situation was getting so bad. I'm pretty sure it was 1 day after we filed motion for default judgment. So we didn't win motion for default judgment yet. We just filed for it. And then I guess they got the paperwork and they were like, dude, we got to close this store down. You know, like we're going to just lose just by default, I guess. So they closed the store down. I'm like, well, because we were thinking about suing them personally at first, but then we were like, it's actually a little bit more credible if we sue the business, because the business is kind of the one that stole, not them personally. So then what I was telling all my friends the whole time is like, hey, if for whatever reason we happen to lose, we can always just do the whole thing again, but sue them personally. And so we're like, okay, they closed down the store, let's sue them personally, you know? So the only problem was the court cases kept getting rejected because we weren't like, it's like, what did you do to resolve the dispute prior to filing? You know, it's like, you have to have a good faith conversation with them. They basically want to, it's kind of like mediation, you know, like they want to see that, like, because they probably get so many court cases that they're like, okay, like we can probably cut these court cases in half if we can get proof of them trying to resolve this first. So, and I think every state does it differently, but this is how the Marion County Court District works. That's just their rules that they set up for their court. So I was like, okay. So I called Josh. I think at this point, this is when he found out I'm a YouTuber, because they probably looked at the paperwork and he's like, who is this guy? He actually went through with the lawsuit. I'm going to do some research on who this guy is. So at this point, I get blocked when I call Josh. And I think it's because this is the point where he finds out I'm a YouTuber now. Because before this, he would always talk to me because he just thought I was some stupid kid. But now I think he realizes, like, this guy's serious about this, you know? So he blocks me. And so we're like, the only way to have this good faith conversation, I show up to his house, which is not illegal, you know, like, and I did the same thing to Brandon too. I showed up to Brandon's house, and with Brandon, you can actually see the interaction. I show up, I'm like, hey, we are planning to sue you, or we can settle it now. If you want to open, I think what I told him, like, hey, all the Star Wars sets are just sitting in the store right now. You're going to give them back to corporate. If you want to just unlock that door for us and we can just have the sets back, we won't sue you. We'll call it even, and you won't get hurt by it at all. Or we can do the court. Like, it's kind of your decision. He just stood there, like, he didn't say a single word. We were standing there for probably like 30, 40 minutes, and he just didn't say anything the whole time.
Hello. Hey, how's it going? Hello? Hey, well, I was wondering if you'd be down to pay us for the lawsuit that we won.
Yeah, the cops come, and then I do the same thing with Josh, but Josh was already on the phone with corporate, which was crazy because we were at corporate like that same day earlier, which corporate only lives like 15 minutes away from his house. So I think they knew we were in the area. So Josh is like outside, like pacing and stuff. And then the cops, and I thought it was gonna be kind of like rude to like interrupt his phone call because I wanted to catch Josh and like I actually want to have a productive conversation with him. I didn't want to just like talk to him. He's like, I'm on the phone, like, and be cranky, you know? So I was like, I actually want to have like a good conversation with him, you know? So I'll wait till his phone call is done and then I'll go talk to him. And while we're waiting for his phone call to be done, the cops come and they pull us over for running a stop sign. Obey every traffic law.
He's got his lights on.
Oh, shoot.
He's pulling us over.
That's when they're like, is this reckless, Ben? Like, how's Utah? And they're like, we're like, you came all the way here to harass this guy? Like, why are you here?
So who's Ben? Me. Ben. How's Utah? It's good. Like it?
The guy's like, Ben's lying to me about everything. Like, his exact wording was like, reckless Ben's just lying to me about everything. So I'm going to tell this kid to get out of here or something, you know? And
can you get the contact for reckless Ben? He said he didn't have his ID, but he's just straight lying to me about everything.
To give the cops some credit, like, it is a crazy story, you know? Like, it is probably like a 1 in a million chance that I'm telling the truth, but it is that 1 in a million chance that I am telling the truth, you know? Like,
Did you run a stop sign?
I mean, it's up to you to see in the video. I play the body cam footage I play the dash cam footage in the video. So from my point of view, it looks like we stopped for at least like 2 seconds. And right before we got to, I saw the cops were following us. And I literally tell my friend, I'm like, hey, do not break a single law. Go like 2 miles an hour under the speed limit, stop at every stop sign. So we made sure to follow every law. And I mean, in the body cam footage, it looks like we stopped for like 2 seconds. So that's my opinion. I think we stopped.
The reason I stopped it is the stop sign. Didn't stop that.
I didn't? No. I thought I stopped.
Yeah, you definitely stopped. So you said you ran a stop sign?
Huh?
You said you ran a stop sign?
I didn't see what happened.
Yeah, I was like,
Because we definitely stopped at the stop sign.
Stopped.
Yeah.
I was so sure that we stopped at the stop sign that I actually requested all the police footage of this. And as you can see, we didn't even do a rolling stop. We fully stopped at the stop sign. So this is an illegal traffic stop.
What is the law enforcement agency that was involved in that?
The American Fork Police Department.
Did anything else happen during that interaction where they pulled you over for the alleged stop sign?
Basically, I told him the whole story. I like ran through the story. Basically, this guy has his set stolen. Basically, they were like, he wants you trespass. We're going to issue you a formal trespass. If you go back on his property, you'll be arrested. And this is when they told me, however, if you're on the sidewalks or the streets, you can still film there. It's public, like you pay taxes, that's fine. So as long as you stay there, you can't get in trouble and you'll be fine.
When was it that they searched your car? Was that in Oregon or was that in Utah?
That was Utah. Yeah, that was right after we sent the Mormon guy in to talk to him.
We were trying to talk to Brother Johnson. Okay. I'm in the Harvard Second Ward.
I was like, okay, if he's not going to listen to us, maybe he'll listen to someone from his own community, you know? So we just showed someone from his own community this audio of him swearing to God. He's like, I swear to God, I will give everything back.
There's been an audio going around with the Young Men group.
Okay. What's the audio that you wanted to play?
Here's the audio.
I'm not going to screw you. You have my word. That's not who I am. I promise you. I swear to God.
And then he didn't. So, like, if I say, like, I swear on my mom's life that I'll do this, and I don't, then now my mom has to die according to my words, right? So it sounds really bad if you say, I swear to God. And if he actually believes this, that's, like, really bad for him to do. Like, he probably thinks he's going to hell, you know? So we were like, we think it would be a good thing to show the Mormon community what he's doing. That way the Mormons can maybe convince him to do the right thing, because if he's not going to listen to me, I'm just some stupid YouTuber in his eyes. But he respects the Mormon community or he's a fake Mormon. So there's two options there. So he's either a fake Mormon just pretending, or he actually respects the Mormon community. And if they show him a way to improve his life, he'll probably listen to them. So that was our thought. And then as we were driving, American Fork is even smaller than Kaiser. It's like literally everyone knows each other in American Fork. So it's like just some small little neighborhood. So one of my fans, that house we were staying at, lives like right next to Josh. And so we were just driving back to my friend's house, who just happens to live next to Josh, and the police come and pull us over. And yeah, it was bad. Basically, they're like, we know that there's heroin in your car. And we're like, what the heck?
He's going to conduct the search of your person because there are illegal substances in the vehicle. Really? So he's going to do that. I'm going to put this away, and then we'll be right. Don't reach in your pockets for me, okay?
I explained to the police that we didn't have drugs, and the reality of the situation is that Bricks and Minifigs is so desperate at this point that they're willing to do anything to get us arrested so they don't have to pay for the property they stole. And the police was arguing back with just some of the worst comebacks I've ever heard, which is why I think the police actually redacted this audio in this clip, because if they kept the audio in, then the world would get to see how stupid the American Fork Police Department is. But anyways, even though we were passing every single drug test they gave us, they were still not going to let us go until we told them where the drugs were.
Your eyes, for example, right? There's a constriction, which is dilated, and then
Do you notice it?
So I haven't been looking.
It's funny because Tyler's like, he's not Mormon, but he's super straight edge. Like, he always follows the law. He's never had a drop of alcohol in his life, never smoked done any type of drug ever. And him getting accused of heroin is just like the most ironic thing.
No idea, because I've never done any drugs in my life. I don't do drugs. I don't do alcohol. I've never done any of that in my life. I'm willing to do any drug tests. Yeah. Like, I'm very cooperative. I don't understand, what you're seeing in my eyes.
I'm going to have a discussion with this officer.
And then the police department illegally redacted this conversation too. My guess is that they acknowledged that it's very obvious we don't have drugs on us, but they were going to try and pressure us into giving some type of false confession anyways.
Normally, if a cop's like, hey, can I search your car? I have the right to say no. They were not giving us that right. They said, you do not have a say in this. We are searching your car because we know there's heroin in it, is what they said. They said, we have reasonable suspicion to believe that there's heroin in your car, and now you cannot decline a search. Like, we have to search your car.
Not sure if you're lying to me or not, to be honest.
I'm willing to take any drug test you want.
Walking a very dangerous line, which can get you into a lot of time.
Yeah.
You could end up in jail in Utah when you're from Cali.
Okay.
Not worth it, right?
Yeah.
We play differently here. Does that make sense?
Yeah. They said they had the probable cause, and when I ask for the probable cause, they don't give it to me. And they say Joshua Johnson is a protected person in this case. So if we tell you what he said about you guys are going to use it for your YouTube clicks and likes, is what they say. So we can't tell you how we know this stuff, is what they're saying. But they ended up doing a canine search of the car, and apparently they said the canine gave the signal. I don't know what the signal is. They got some type of reason to believe that we had drugs on us. And when I ask, what is that reason? They say, well, Josh and Brandon are protected people in this case, and if we let you know what they said about you, you're going to use it for your YouTube clicks and likes and subscribers. You're going to make money off that, and that's bad. So we can't let them know anything. I actually went to court a couple of days ago, and I was like, I don't even know why I'm here in court. Like, they won't tell me why I'm here. And then the prosecutor, Russell Farr, he's like, well, if we told him, he's just going to use it for his clicks and likes, and he's going to make money off the victim. Isn't that a bad? We don't want that, judge. He's going to make money off a victim in this case, so we can't tell him. I'm like, well, if I don't know why I'm here, like, what am I doing here, And it's so ridiculous.
What happened with the search?
Oh, they found nothing. Wait, I'm on 1% on my computer. Let me plug it in really quick. I'm so sorry. It wasn't like 50%. I guess it dies fast on Zoom. Okay, I'm plugged in. So with the search, they searched our car. I don't know how long they searched our car for, but the entire interaction lasted for about 3 hours. And it sucks because when I requested the body cam footage, like probably 60% of it is just all redacted audio. And they claim it's to protect the victims of the case. They're like, oh, well, the victims, Joshua Johnson, who's a victim in this case, that's who we're protecting by redacting this audio. But the audio they redacted, like I remember the conversations. It's me being like, there's nothing in our car, and then being like, 100% there's stuff in your car. Like we know there's stuff in your car. And so I think they might have redacted that footage, not to protect the victims, but to make the police officers not look stupid. Because if this footage gets out, then the police officers' jobs are now in danger. So the only way to save their jobs, I think, was to redact this footage.
You said it took like 3 hours for them to search your car.
Yeah, and we're just standing talking, like just the police are just arguing with us the entire time. Like, dude, we know you guys are on drugs. Just admit it now. You know, like you guys are going to jail for a long time.
Eventually, do they let you go?
Yeah, they let us go because they couldn't find anything. So they just let us go. Yeah.
But not for long, I take it.
So that was the night that we did the, I think that was after we did the, what's it called? The good faith conversation, I think. So that was the day before I got arrested. Then the next day I get arrested. Yeah. So the next day we're like, okay, let's go serve them papers. And we'll do exactly what the police told us. We'll stay on the street. I have a process server who's going to serve the papers, and I'm just going to be there, like, because she was like kind of scared. The server was kind of scared to go to his house alone because she's like, this guy's crazy. Like, I don't know what he's going to do. So it made her feel more comfortable if I was in the car with her, you know. We just go, and this is when probably, I don't know how many times we had the cops calling us. We were there for 3.5 hours though of constant talking to the cops.
What are you guys doing here? So we are in a court case with them, and we have to serve them legal papers.
So I explained to the cops the entire situation.
I'm not going on his property.
Right, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
The police realized that we're not breaking any laws, and they've been called here for a false reason, so they decided to leave.
Awesome,
Okay.
thank you.
Then we got the police called on us again.
Hello. This man stole basically his family's life savings.
But we got the police called on us again.
Hello.
Yep. Can I see those papers?
Yeah.
So this is what you're trying to serve them with?
Yes.
At first, the cops are cool. You know, they come up to us and they're like, hey, we see that you're doing nothing illegal. You're staying on the streets, the sidewalks. You're not going on his property. As long as you keep this up, you're good. The Oregon cops were like trying to get us in trouble for things we didn't do. But these cops acknowledged that what we're doing is legal, and they gave us the thumbs up, you know? So we're like, okay, sweet. About 10 minutes later, we get the cops calling us again. And I think same thing. They're like, those cops are cool. We told them the whole story. They're like, yep. They're like, this guy is really mad is what they kept telling us. Like, this guy is super, super mad. So like, I guess that's why we're here again, you know? And so we're like, well, of course he's mad. Like, he's about to get in trouble for stealing an old man's life savings. Of course he's going to be, that's expected for him to be mad, you know? And then after that, then I think the cops the next time, what they say is they're like, okay, this guy is super mad. Like, this is starting to cause problems for us now because of how mad he's getting. Can we just serve the papers for you? And I'm like, that would be awesome. That would literally fulfill our goal if you served the papers for us. So they are gone for like 20 minutes and he comes back and I'm like, yep, okay, we served the papers. Now we can leave. This is sick. But instead, what he does is he gives us the papers. Like, he does not want your papers. I'm like, but did you talk to him? He's like, yeah, he says he doesn't want them. I'm like, of course he's not going to want them. No one wants court papers. Like, just all you have to do is you say, you've been served, and you can literally drop them. You don't have to give them to him. Just, you've been served, drop them. And he's like, yeah, but he doesn't want them. I'm like, do you not know how serving someone works? Like, no one is going to, that's why you have to serve, like, no one wants to be served court papers. He's like, yeah, well.
Does not want the paper. So
He's not want the papers?
here's that back for you.
Okay. This is where he goes, actually, these are fake court papers. He's like, you're lying to me right now. He's like, it doesn't have a judge's name on it, which I think every state does it differently. But in Marion County, in some states, I think in Utah, probably what he's used to is there will be a judge's name on it before you serve, which is probably what that police officer's used to. But this is a Marion County court case in Oregon. And in Marion County, you get the judge's signature after you serve the court papers. So you go to mediation first, and then you go to court. That's just their process. I didn't make the law. I'm just following what the law is. And
I've never seen something like that. To be honest with you.
These are court papers.
Okay. It doesn't have a judge's name or anything like that on it?
Because it hasn't gotten to the judge yet. So this is serving him, and then we'll go to the court, and then the judge will be there. So the judge doesn't get involved until we're in court.
Why is he saying that you guys went on the property?
Because he wants us arrested, so he doesn't have to go to court.
It doesn't look good when you've been trespassed.
Yeah.
Trying to serve papers.
Well, I think it looks exactly how we're supposed to do it legally. This is the legal way to do it.
Well, we have 2 or 3 incidents.
Yeah, well, first, so they're incidents because he's lying to you guys. He's making them incidents. We came to do a good faith conversation, which is required by the courts before you can get a court case approved. So we did that. He called the cops on us. He lied to you guys saying that we had heroin on us, and we did a 3-hour search of the car yesterday. We found no heroin in the car. He's going to make up any lie he can to get us arrested. We are doing things the legal way, the correct way. The reason he's hiding in his house is because he's the criminal. If something doesn't look good, it doesn't look good for him, not for us.
Go the legal process, find an actual process server.
She is an actual process server.
And what is your guys' relationship?
I just met her today.
Well, maybe just have someone not affiliated with you.
That's her. Yeah, we have no relationship. That's why she's here. Yeah, that's why she's here. We have no relationship, and that is she is the exact person that you're describing.
They keep calling the police on us and all this stuff, and finally, I got the body cam footage where he calls them, and he's pissed off. He calls the court, and they're like, yeah, this is a real court case, and he's just like, this is where the cops just get like upset. They're like rubbing their chins. They're like, what do we do? You know, they're like, what? And they're just really pissed off that this actually is a real court case. And that's when they arrest me. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, for me.
Okay.
Okay. We're find you back.
Am I being arrested?
You're under arrest right now.
Really?
I think the official charge they got me with is stalking. It's kind of complicated. There's a lot of things that have to be, like check marks that have to be checked off for stalking. And I guess technically I did every check mark, which is why they got me for that. One of them is like I crossed state lines. So I went from California to Utah. So I traveled to go to him, you know, so that's in stalking. But the difference though is I was going there for a business reason, not to harass him. You know, I was there for a legitimate business reason, not for harassment.
Following, monitoring, observing, photographing, surveilling, or communicating to or about an individual.
Another check mark I completed was that my actions caused him fear. So that's another check mark when it comes to stalking. However, if you read deeper into the stalking code, it says that it only counts as stalking if a reasonable person would be scared, and a reasonable person would not be scared if I come to serve him papers, you know, like that's his fault that he's scared. He's only scared because he stole the money. So it's his fault that he's scared, not my fault. Like my actions, just sitting outside a person's house waiting to serve them would not cause the reasonable person fear, I would assume. And so, but that's another check. And then the other check was multiple incidents, I guess. So we had the day before the cops came and they trespassed me. And then now I go back. And so because there's multiple instances of harassment, now it's stalking. So if I just harass someone once, that's not stalking. But because I harassed them twice, now it is stalking. Even though I would argue it's not harassment, I'm there for a legitimate business reason. And if you're going somewhere for a business reason, that's not legally harassment, I would argue at least.
The night before you got arrested, that is when they searched your car. They detained you like for 3 hours, didn't find anything, had to let you go.
Yeah.
The next day is when you're trying to serve the court papers and they come interact with you and eventually arrest you.
Yes.
Are those charges still pending?
Yes, I've been to court a couple of times for them. It looks like it might take about 1 to 2 years. I've already been to court like 3 or 4 times just because of this. So
what are the charges against you? Like, what are they called? How many counts?
It's stalking. I think it's a class A misdemeanor stalking. It's like the highest misdemeanor right before felony. It's like the worst misdemeanor I can have. And so that's stalking, and then residential picketing. So our way to get the Josh out of the house so we could serve him was I put a sign across the street that said like, I stole a family's life savings or something, you know? And it was just a small little sign. And it was actually, we looked it up, this patch of land, it's a small patch of land that it's like super kind of a gross patch of land because it's the HOA does not own it. It's just public for anyone to use. And so I'm allowed to put a sign there, you know, because it's freedom of speech. I'm using the public land. If the police officers told me to take it down, obviously I would take it down. But it's funny because the police officers never mention the sign. Like out of all the times the police officers come, I'm always like, okay, this time they're going to mention the sign. And they just like, this is fake court papers. I'm like, what? Like, so they always caught me off guard on that. But technically in Utah, targeted picketing, residential picketing is illegal, I guess, even though it was a public area. So I don't really know much about that, but that's the other thing they're getting me on is residential picketing.
They had to dig deep for that one.
Yeah.
It sounds like First Amendment retaliation to me.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But that was the first time I got arrested. I got arrested again. So basically we realized if we sue them, it's like the police are making it impossible for us to sue them. Like if I try and do what the court tells me to do, I will get arrested. So we were brainstorming other ways to get his money back. And we're like, well, if we can't take Bricks and Minifigs down, maybe the video will be enough to take them down and we can still reimburse them through a GoFundMe. So I made a GoFundMe and I used the same picture as that sign as our GoFundMe picture. Cause I was like, if they got really upset at that sign, it'd be kind of funny to put as that picture. And also I just thought it was a funny picture. I'm like, if this is the picture of our GoFundMe, the GoFundMe will go more viral, and the more viral it goes, the more money we make. So it was a strategic business move to make that picture our GoFundMe picture, because that picture is going to cause more people to donate, And I think I said in the GoFundMe, like, Josh stole the Legos, and now Brian is trying to get his money back for what Josh stole or something, We're like, okay, let's go hang this GoFundMe picture up, And so we print out the sign double in size this time, and we got permission from the person's house to put it up. And so it's not like we're on like a public property. This is private property that we are allowed to post the sign on. And the police come literally within like 30 seconds this time. The police come because the police are just always driving through the neighborhood and stuff. There was one time they even just like show up to our house for whatever reason. The police are just always in the neighborhoods, I guess. So within like 30 seconds, like the sign's not even like, it only takes like less than a minute to hang up a sign. It doesn't take a long time to hang up a sign. And they couldn't even hang up the sign yet. So it's literally within like 30 seconds to like the police must have been following us, or they must have already been in the area. It was just a coincidence. They were already there, but within 30 seconds, the police show up.
What you guys up to?
We're starting to GoFundMe. Yeah. What we're doing is we're going to get a bunch of publicity to get basically all this money back for this family.
And just like goes and cuts it down. And then pretty much all of it's redacted. And so I can only assume what the police officers are saying now because they're not letting me see. And some of it I was able to like splice the clips together and see bits and pieces that they didn't want me to see, where they're arguing like, what is, like, why did you take it down? Like, we can't just take this.
Your stalking code. See if it's that. If it's not, we're going to look at disorderly. If it's not disorderly, then we're going to look at the city ordinance. Any occasion of crime? Is it disorderly conduct? Why? Is he upset about it?
I mean, I guess, but that's not.
Yeah, this police officer is right. Just because this might make Josh upset does not make this poster illegal. So I decided to let the police department know that some of the redactions they made aren't exactly what they're claiming they are. I think you guys might have accidentally forgot to redact another clip that was at the same time. And when I synced the two clips together, I was able to see what they were saying, like what the redaction was. And he was talking about how what we're doing actually isn't illegal and how the police officer might be wrong. And so it wasn't about protecting a victim. It wasn't any personal information. And so I was wondering, it seems like there might be a lot of stuff like that got redacted, maybe to protect the police officers, not to protect the victims, if that makes sense. And so...
yeah, we don't do that. So like I said, anything that's redacted is pursuant to Utah State Code.
I can tell because when I sync the two clips together, I'm actually able to see that that's what the redaction was.
Okay, well, that didn't happen.
That definitely didn't happen?
No, I don't do that, Ben. I follow the Utah State Code, like I just said.
Okay. I don't know. It seems like the police department redacted this entire conversation because right here the police are actually admitting to themselves that none of this is illegal, but they're still going to try to arrest us anyways. It seems like the only reason they're getting rid of this audio is to protect the police officers from getting fired.
The way we have First Amendment freedom of speech is I can say something you don't like and I'm allowed to do that. So the police officer is arguing exactly against that statement. He's like, if this makes him mad, this is illegal, which goes completely against the First Amendment. And so he's like, because it makes him mad, we're going to steal their property. They're kind of brainstorming schemes, way to get us arrested. He's like, let's get him on disorderly. If it's not disorderly, we'll get him on a public nuisance. If it's not that, we'll get him on, and they're just listing off all these things. But at the end of the day, they can't find anything we're doing illegal. So finally, they're like, Sheldon, let's confiscate your phone. And then Sheldon pulls out his phone, and I guess he like double tapped it, and he sees his wallets up on it. And he just like locks his phone before giving it to them. And then they arrest him for destroying evidence, which they call obstruction. I cut in the video to Sheldon in the interrogation room. He's like, I'm assuming you have a phone. He's like, if you lock your screen, can you destroy evidence that way? He's like, actually, you can't because the phone's locked. What I was doing is I was preserving the evidence, actually.
My wallet popped up, so I said, hold up, let me hit my power button. And, I have it recorded as well. That's all I went and did. That's not obstruction of evidence. And then I let him have the phone. I wasn't trying to delete anything. In fact, it is actually impossible to delete something from an iPhone from a locked screen by hitting the power button. So in no context could I have been trying to erase something by hitting one button on my phone. Now I'm sure you have a phone as well. When you hit the power button, that doesn't delete anything, does it?
I would imagine it wouldn't, yeah.
Yeah, so that's all I did. So I don't know how that's obstruction of evidence, but that is what it is.
So he gets arrested for obstruction just because they're fishing for anything at this point to get this GoFundMe down. After that, I'm calling the police station. So Sheldon's not even in jail yet. And I'm calling the jail, and they're like, Sheldon's not here yet. And then all of a sudden the police just raid our house. We're like, what the heck is happening now? And one of my friends is like, what happened? And I've heard of YouTubers getting swatted before, where someone will call the cops and be like, hey, I'm a dangerous terrorist. You're going to explode everything. Come get me, and then the police will show up. And it's actually really dangerous. So I'm like, I think we got swatted for the first time. But we're all confused. They're not telling us anything. We're like, are we getting arrested? And they're like, we can't answer any of your questions. But they end up taking everyone to jail, except for me. They took me to a detective room. And later I got the warrant. And on the warrant, it says that they had a search warrant to search our house for missing Legos, missing or any stolen Legos. And so I'm requesting all this footage, hey, can I get the claims? Can I get the 911 calls of why they had to search our house? And they're like, we can't give that to you. You're just going to use that for clicks and likes in your YouTube video, so we can't give you any of this. Even though they legally have to give it to me, they're not, because they don't want me to make it viral, I guess. Why else would they be searching our house for stolen Legos if they didn't get a call? I don't know. It just makes no sense.
I've been swatted twice, and what they actually did was share absolutely everything with me. This is the call that we got. This is where it came from. This was the number. This was the IP address that was used, and then help me try to track the people down. Here, it sounds like it was sort of a mutual effort.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to know why they swatted my house. All I have is it says, we are looking for stolen or missing Legos inside my house.
Did they find any missing Legos in your house?
No. We had no Legos in our house. I didn't steal the Legos. I'm investigating the thief who stole the Legos. So I kind of connected the dots. And then in the previous video, Josh said, if I actually attempt to go out and sue him, he's going to come out and say, I stole the Legos. I don't know. I'm just connecting the puzzle pieces in the way I think is the best way to connect them, I guess.
After the swatting, did they arrest you?
Yes. They searched our entire house. They didn't find any Legos, of course, but they arrested me. They detained me in the interrogation room. So I wasn't arrested yet. I was just being detained in an interrogation room.
Well, that was against your will, though, right?
Yes.
So you were arrested.
I guess so, yeah.
They can call it detained, but unless you're free to leave, you were under arrest at that point.
When he read me my Miranda rights, he says, this doesn't mean you're being under arrest. You're just being detained, but I have to read you these Miranda rights, is what he said. So the police officers claim I was only detained at that point, and then I was officially under arrest once they found out I made the GoFundMe, is what the police are claiming.
Don't move like that. You understand me? Don't move like that. Okay?
Yeah, this cop pulled my arm so far back it dislocated my shoulder. He claims it's because I was attempting to make an escape or something.
Don't move like that. You understand me? Don't move like that. Don't move quick. Everybody just chill.
But if we go back a little bit, you can see I was being completely still when he grabbed me, and I actually made 0 quick movements. So this police officer is just straight up lying so he can give me a serious injury.
Did the cops dislocate your shoulder at some point?
Yeah, so I was skiing literally 2 days before going to Utah, and I had a really bad skiing accident where I dislocated my shoulder, and it still kind of hurts. I probably need like surgery on it or something. So the entire time, like I'm driving, like I don't know if you can see in the videos, like when I'm driving, like I'm just driving with one arm, because like if I like lift my arm up like this, like it would just dislocate. So like it was just any like rough movement on my arm would have dislocated. You know, I don't think he was being like overly like aggressive, but I mean, he did dislocate it for no reason, because he was like, he's like, no quick movements. Like, you made a quick move. He's like, you have to just chill. But I was just walking out just like everyone else, I think I have a confused look on my face. I'm like, why are all these police officers here with guns? I'm like, okay, I'll comply. You know, this is my first time ever having like a machine gun pointed at my face. So I'm not like, all it takes is like one mess up of a movement for the cop to shoot me. So I'm like, I'm going to comply as much as possible. So I was making sure to make no quick movements. And you can see in the footage, no quick movements. And the cop like takes my bad shoulder and just moves it up super hard. So I still think there was no reason for him to do that.
How long were you in custody?
The police originally requested for me to have no bail. So I was like scared. I'm like, dude, I'm going to be here for like a month, dude. Because my court case was about a month later. So that's what the police wanted. But the judge said that I think I got out maybe like 12, 13 hours later or something like that. Like it wasn't too long.
All of these charges are still pending?
Yes. I've got none of them taken down. Every single thing I've been charged for is going to court. I tried to call the prosecutor and make a deal, and they're not willing to play ball.
You have a trial date set?
I have a lot of trial dates set. Yeah, the next one is July 1st. Yeah. And that is for discovery for this case, because I said, hey, I don't know why I'm here. I won't know why I'm here unless you tell me why I'm here. So that's what we were deciding on July 1st, whether I'm allowed to know why I'm here.
And these are all misdemeanors?
Yes, but of the highest class. And I have new charges. So after my first call with Eamon, where I'm like, hey, can you please just give us the Legos back? After my first interaction with Eamon calls the police. He's like, Ben just came in here saying he's going to burn down the building if I don't give the Legos back. He's going to shoot every single person inside. So those ones I'm actually dealing with a Class B felony for those charges. So now I'm dealing with felonies, but we're still just in pretrial right now. So.
And meanwhile, has this family gotten any of their money back or their Legos back?
Now that big streamers are talking about it, I think if we can get big streamers to like shout out the GoFundMe, I think the internet will do its thing and we'll reimburse them. But that doesn't solve the problem of, oh, now the business just gets away with this. Because the thing I don't want is for the business to be like, oh, Brian's been refunded by the internet. Now we don't have to pay him anymore. You know, like the problem solved. Stop harassing us now. You know, like that's what I don't want. So I was thinking maybe the GoFundMe's for me. And then what happens is I take the money from the GoFundMe, give it all to Brian in return for the rest of the Legos we didn't buy from him. And now it truly is like me versus corporate. Brian gets refunded, but now I'm in debt to Bricks and Minifigs. And then now Bricks and Minifigs has to pay me back is kind of what. And that way Brian gets completely, because he just wants out of this thing. He just wants to get paid and leave. So I was thinking that might be the best way to deal with it. So I use the GoFundMe money, buy the rest of the Legos from Brian. He gets paid out. And then now I just continue to fight for the money Bricks and Minifigs owes me now.
Sounds like a plan.
That's crazy.
More than just interview Ben about what happened, I also needed to review the court documents for myself. So Ben gave me the access and I started to go through them. As I'm doing this, the situation, as you know, starts absolutely blowing up everywhere on the internet. And I start to just continuously get more and more emails and messages about this situation. I've watched his GoFundMe go from just a few thousand to over 200 grand in just a matter of days. And that's probably a good thing because Ben will need basically an army of lawyers to get through this thing. Despite having the apparent support of the entire internet, he's currently facing serious criminal charges in the local courts there in Utah County, Utah. He's currently facing 1 count of stalking, a Class A misdemeanor under Utah law, and 1 count of targeted residential picketing, a Class B misdemeanor under Utah law. Those are both still in the very early stages, and he's currently out on about a $2,000 bond. But that's not all. He's also facing a 333-page civil lawsuit filed by BAM Franchising and other plaintiffs, and it's quite detailed. It's full of allegations. What they are claiming is their side of the story, replete with numerous screenshots from the Reckless Ben videos, as well as numerous civil causes of action. including a Utah RICO claim, defamation, injurious falsehood, whatever that is, civil conspiracy, tortious interference, civil stalking, nuisance, trespass, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and unjust enrichment. Meanwhile, as you know from Ben's videos, the American Fork Police Department has been busy redacting the audio from most of the body cam videos that they have released. So there is a lot going on here, and as always, the most important thing is the criminal case. Unlike a civil case, Ben's literal freedom is on the line. Additionally, if they are able to secure any criminal convictions against him, that could negatively impact or even foreclose Ben's ability to win a subsequent civil lawsuit against the officers and agencies involved here and everything that had happened. At this point, the criminal case is far from being resolved. Then there's the civil case. As was alleged to have been threatened numerous times throughout these incidents, it can take a long time and a huge amount of money to defend against these sort of civil lawsuits. I mean, just look at the 333-page complaint and attachments that these plaintiffs paid attorneys to draft, file, and serve on Ben. He's going to need his own army of attorneys just to defend against it, and it could take a long time. But hopefully he will have even better lawyers, and hopefully they can get it out of that local courthouse where it is now and get it removed to federal court. I've already been talking with one particular lawyer that I have in mind to represent Ben who would be perfect for the job. Hopefully that can be made to work. But for now, it's important for Ben to keep building his war chest and collecting evidence. I've also been going through the body cam footage and audio that we do have from the interactions with the American Fork Police Department, and I'm going to address those in a part 2 video because there is just so much there that happened. I'll also address the specifics from the civil lawsuit that was filed against Ben that contains the other side's allegations. So you can follow along by subscribing both here and at the blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com. You can follow me on X and the other socials at JohnBryanESQ. Remember, our rights don't end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.